Hi, and welcome to the Blueshirts Corner. So the Rangers are going to be taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight, and I'm hyped up for this game. I really am. I'm looking forward to this team bouncing back after the loss yesterday to the Blackhawks. I feel like we're going to hit the reset button here as our lines look like they're ready to go. Defense looks like we have our top guys in there. Let's just start off with the defense. The fact that Ryan McDonough, he's back in his second game since suffering this concussion. He's in on the top pairing. He's playing with Dan Girardi. Mark Stahl's playing with Kevin Klein for the second pairing. And then we got Keith Yandle and Dan Boyle for the third pairing. I'm confident in this defense. I feel like Vigneault knows what he's doing. We're going to find a way to bounce back after that loss. Now the forwards, our first line looks solid with Chris Kreider, Derek Stepan, Matt Zuccarello. They can find a way to really contribute in this game. Our second line of JT Miller, Derek Brassard, and Jasper Fast. That line has been building something. Our top six have established something big. Oscar Lindbergh with Kevin Hayes and Victor Stahlberg. That line is just solid in my opinion. They came up huge with that first goal versus the Blackhawks. That line's solid. Tanner Glass with Dominic Moore and Daniel Paille for the fourth line. Honestly, I think Daniel Paille, if he doesn't redeem himself in this game, I think we need to put this guy on waivers. He had a bad game versus the Blackhawks, and I'm looking at this guy and I feel like the coaching staff had deemed this guy as the guy to be the savior for the penalty kill, the expert. I'm not seeing what they saw, and I'm just looking at Tanner Glass. Playing next to a guy like Daniel Paille, Tanner Glass looks like a solid player. I would actually keep Tanner Glass in this lineup. After seeing Daniel Paille play, Tanner Glass looks like the way he's been finishing his checks and bringing energy. That fight he had versus Philadelphia with Ryan White was a good fight. Dominic Moore, this guy is solid. I feel like Dominic Moore is really one of those depth players. Late in a game, when you need a guy to take a face-off in your own zone, Dominic Moore is that guy. He has the speed. He has a good backhand shot. He could find ways to score goals. Dominic Moore, to be a fourth-line player, is just a secret weapon in a sense. Like, this guy is not even a fourth-line player. And for him to play in the fourth line, it makes this team forward-wise very deadly. And I feel like they just need somebody with a lot more offense to play on that right wing with Dominic Moore and Tanner Glass. In fact, Tanner Glass, he could hit, finish his checks, forecheck there. Dominic Moore's got the speed, good shot. I feel like we just need a good playmaker to play that right side, and that fourth line would be lethal. Antti Raanta is going to be in net, as Dylan McIlrath's a healthy scratch and Rick Nash is still out with the bone bruise. It was announced that he's week to week after we thought he was going to be day to day. I just hope that Rick Nash comes back before this trade deadline and he comes back on fire and back to being the player that we saw scoring 40 goals before he went down with an injury. If Rick Nash doesn't come back from this injury and start to just take over games, we have to find a way to move him. If we don't move Rick Nash at the trade deadline and he's still on this team, fine. But if he doesn't come up huge for the next stretch of the rest of the season and then in the playoffs, that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. If Rick Nash is not taking over games, especially in the playoffs, we should trade this guy over the offseason and rebuild from that. I feel like we could get a draft pick, we could get prospects, we could get something if we move Rick Nash in the offseason. Just looking forward to seeing this team find a way to come up big in this game. We'll see what happens by the trade deadline. I'm looking forward to seeing a guy like Keith Yandle stay. Keith Yandle has stepped up big. I feel like the minutes that he took on when Ryan McDonough went down, it shows you the value of a left side defenseman. I feel like Keith Yandle, he's our number 2 left side defenseman. There's no doubt about it. If we find a way to move Girardi, Stahl, and Boyle and find a way to just build on getting a guy to play with McDonough, having Keith Yandle play with Kevin Klein, we could call up Matt Bodie to play with Dylan McIlrath for a third pairing. I expect next season to see Dylan McIlrath and Matt Bodie, or Brady Shea and Dylan McIlrath for a third pairing. Dan Boyle's definitely, after this season, Dan Boyle's gone. So that's going to solidify Dylan McIlrath for having that spot in the lineup full time. I just hope that Dan Girardi and Mark Stahl take another step in the right direction. Mark Stahl playing with Kevin Klein, it's really been good. I feel like I could trust Mark Stahl playing with Kevin Klein. I think Dan Girardi Girardi, he's finding ways to come back. I think that Dan Girardi is one of those guys that he knows how to play the game, and I'm going to trust this team. I'm going to trust Vigneault. I'm going to trust our system because we're sitting at the second spot in the Metropolitan Division. That's good. I think we're fine. We don't have to win the President's Trophy. This team is in good position going into the playoffs. If it was to end today, I think that we're fine. I just feel like we'll find out what happens by the trade deadline. Let's just stick with the team we have for tonight's lineup, for tonight's game, and just root for our team. As we're in Toronto, we're finding ways to score goals in the third period, which is something that I'm impressed with. When it comes crunch time, we find a way to get back in it. Like, we'll come out in the third period and find ways to score goals. And that is something that's really good going forward. And I think that we have pieces for the future. Like, next season, you're going to see a Rangers team that's even better than this team this year. Because next season, we're going to either pick up some draft picks in the offseason, or we're going to be bringing in some of our pipeline players. I think that Buchnevich, he should definitely be playing for the Rangers next season. We should definitely see a guy like Brady Shea next season playing. Dylan McIlrath having a full-time job. Anyway, I'm expecting Antti Raanta to be back. I think having played that game versus the LA Kings, and in that third period, it looked like he was getting back to playing like the Raanta we know. He's been practicing. I think tonight I'm expecting Antti Raanta to come up big. And I'm expecting our team to play good team defense in front of him and really give him a lot of support. Anyway, I'm going to keep everybody posted. I'm geared up for this one. You guys got to remember, let's go Rangers.